Welcome, councillors, to the ordinary council meeting. Look at the outstanding discussion equipment, please. I declare
that as a council meeting, I will undertake every occasion to carry out duties in the best interests of the community, and that my conduct shall maintain the standards of our council code of conduct, so that I may faithfully represent and uphold the trust placed in the council by the people of Allen Street.
Thank you, councillors. This council meeting is conducted in accordance with the Local Government Act of 2020 and the Vanilla Rural City Council Governance Act of 2020. The meeting is recorded and live streamed by YouTube. As normal, we expect your behaviour to be exemplary. If anyone has a conflict of interest, it needs to be disclosed now. Does anyone have any conflict in the agenda? Thank you. Do we have any apologies?
No.
Confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting. Would someone like to move that? Councillor Davis and Councillor King. All those in favour? Carried. Public question time. Do we have any? No. Do we have any petitions? No. Okay, a record of committees. 8.1, Finance and Operations Committee. The recommendation is on page 11, that the report and the recommendations of the Finance and Operations Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 16th of June.
Page 7.
7.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. The first recommendation is on page 7.
You're right.
That the report and the recommendations of the Finance and Ops Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 2nd of June be adopted. Councillor Davis and Councillor Ganaratne. Would you like to speak, Councillor Davis?
No, thank you.
Councillor Ganaratne.
No, thank you, Chair.
Anyone else like to speak on that? All those in favour? That's carried. 8.1.2. The recommendation is we have another one on the list. On page 10, that the report and recommendations of the Finance and Operations Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 9th of June 21 be adopted. Councillor Firth, Councillor Hearn. Would you like to speak, Councillor
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Firth, Councillor Hearn? Anyone else like to speak? All those in favour? 8.1.3, Finance and Operations Committee meeting, the report, the recommendation is on page 11. The report and recommendations of the Finance and Operations Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 16th of June 2021 be adopted. Move Councillor Davis, second Councillor Firth. Like to speak, Councillor Davis? Councillor Firth?
Other than Mr. Chair, to say that we've obviously had a lot of meetings lately.
Would anyone else like to speak?
Thank you.
All those in favour? Carried. 8.2, the Planning and Development Committee. The recommendation is on page 26. The reports and recommendations of the Planning and Development Committee meeting held on Wednesday, the 16th of June, be adopted. Councillor Hearn, Councillor King. Would you like to speak, Councillor Hearn?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
No, thank you.
Councillor King. Anyone else like to speak on that? All those in favour? And that is carried. 8.3, Assembly of Councillors. The recommendation is that the report be noted, and that is on page 27. I'd like to move that. Councillor Ganaratne and Councillor Hearn. Would you like to speak, Councillor Ganaratne?
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Hearn?
No, thank you, Mr.
Would
Chair.
anyone else like to speak on that? All those in favour? It's carried. 9.2, the 21. Well, there are a lot of meetings. Okay. Reports by officers, Bill. 9.1, authorisation of signing and sealing of documents, Bill. Back to 9.2, the 2021 budget. Kathy Secretary.
Thank you. It's the 21-22 budget that we're presenting tonight for consideration by council. I'm pretty excited that we've reached this point of the year. This budget has been prepared during a COVID year, which has been a true challenge to the community and to the council in trying to deliver the current year's budget. And I appreciate the time taken by councillors and the community, our CEO and all of the BRCC staff who have input into this budget over the last 6 months. We've drawn from the previous council plan and from discussions within the council chamber this year to arrive at the guidance that we need to set the budget. The forecast figures in 2021 have moved monthly, and I'm afraid they've moved since we put the draft budget out to the actual adoption of this budget. And I assure you that by the 30th of June, they'll have moved again when I present our financial statement. I greatly appreciate the input that we have had and the outstanding relationships we have been able to foster with our suppliers and the providers of our services. They have been fantastic in addressing the needs of our community and the future 12 months needs of getting to the people in our community who need support. As a result of that, we have had all levels of government introduce new funding initiatives and program deliveries that previously we haven't had open to us. There are many challenges in taking up those opportunities, but I'm happy to say that the CEO and the staff have really looked at how we can access funding opportunities and deliver the requirements of those funding opportunities. The impact of this has greatly influenced the figures that have come out this year. We have $36.5 million worth of revenue and $34.5 million worth of expenditure in our operating statement. That's a big year for us. I'm also excited that we have a capital project of overall projects over $13.3 million. That is a really large amount, and it has been impacted by the carryover from the current year's program. Originally, I forecast that we were going to put in about $11.1 million in the current year worth of capital spend, and it's been dropped back due to COVID restrictions and also a bit of the weather as well. So you will see in the report that I have increased our total program with carried forwards to be $13.3 million. I'm excited that we're going to be spending on a variety of things, and as discussed at our many meetings, there's an executive summary included in this document that isn't quite one page. I've made it full, which really outlines where I think we have challenges and the opportunities that are going forward. So I would hope if anyone wants to really get an overview of the very large document this is, those 4 pages are well worth reading. A budget is a formal statement of what we estimate income and expenditure to be based on future plans and objectives that we have for our 12 months ahead. In other words, the budget is a document that management makes to influence the estimates for the revenue and expenditure for the upcoming period based on the goals that we have for the business. And I greatly appreciate that we've really sat down and thought about it this year. I believe we're in a very focused delivery for the next 12 months, and I believe that we're in a good cash position as well at the moment, which is great. I'd like to recommend the document to you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Kathy. Are there any questions of Kathy? Councillor Renee.
Thank you, Ms. Patrick. I noted a few changes from the previous budget. On the comprehensive income statement, page 27, the grant or the total income has gone down by $782,000 compared to the previous one. And the employees' cost has also gone down from $250,000. Could you please explain that? Where is that coming from? Thank you.
So there have been a number of movements in the grants. The Victorian Grants Commission has paid next year's grant early. We have recognised some grants have not been expended in the current year, and so we were unable to recognise them in the 2021 year, and they will move into the 21-22 year. So between ins and outs, you'll see in our detailed, I think it's 4.6. Sorry, I have to tell. It's 4.1.4. It's on page 51. There have been a number of movements in that grant breakup because we have not been able to recognise capital grants that we thought we would spend in the current year. We're carrying them forward into next year, and as such, they'll be recognised in the next year. So there have been quite a few movements from the draft budget to the current budget, impacted by the forecast result of the current year's figures. The specific number for employees will be impacted, I think, by the Working for Victoria recognition of the grant money that we receive in the current year under the new accounting standards for recognition of income. If it's an operational grant and there's no performance criteria that has to be met like we do for capital percentage, then you have to recognise it in the year that you receive it. We haven't changed any other employment plans for any other positions that are outlined in the HR sections of the budget.
Councillor Firth.
Yeah, Kathy, with regards to, I wasn't expecting here, but the summary that we've talked about explaining the budget in more simple terms, do we have any idea of when or how is that going to be introduced next year?
It's on page 4 and 5.
Did I miss it?
And 6 and 7. Sorry, it's not one page, it's 4.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Generatno.
Thank you, Chair. On page 61, Mr. Patrick, the capital expenditure for street escape, upgrade Main Street, stimulus has gone down by $50,000 compared to the previous draft budget. Could you please explain the rationale of how did that happen?
We're anticipating that we will have spent $50,000 in the current year on design costs, and as such, we recognise capital spend as it happens, and that percentage will be recognised in the current year. We're really trying to spend all the grant money we receive as soon as we can, because that is actually one of the intents of the government giving it to us, to stimulate activity in the community. And that's one of the things that, fortunately, the Working for Victoria money that we've received has assisted us with having the labour to get that started. So there's been a really great impact of receiving that Working for Victoria funding. It's really helped us move our capital program along, which I think is positive.
Thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Generatno.
Thank you, Chair. One more question. I can see some work being transferred from the Victorian grant, the 2 million project, but I couldn't really find the broadwalk and the ceiling of market area in that budget. Has it been done, or is it not? But it's built into something else in the budget here, in the capital statement. Thank you.
I know the market, sorry. The boardwalk, I'm not sure if you mean the Aboriginal Gardens.
Yes. be happy to answer.
I believe the Aboriginal Gardens is under Parkside, it's Space and Streetscape. And it's part of the Lake Precinct. It's on page 61. That's currently in the program. I can't off the top of my head tell you if that's the total cost of the total project or we're spending some money in the current year.
Total project's 180,000.
So we must be spending some money in the current year.
Correct.
And the sealing of the market, I call it the market, it was subject to weather. It was supposed to happen in June. The outdoor crew were attempting to get that one undertaken. We haven't got a lot of days left, but when we prepared this about a week and a half ago, that was one of the items that we anticipated that we would be able to deliver in the current year. If it doesn't get delivered in the current year, it will come forward as a spend next year because it's fully funded under the grant funds.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions on the budget? No?
Mr. Chair, can I just make a comment just in regard to the recommendation? Subsequent to the recommendation being developed last Friday night, we've done some further investigations and just a couple of amendments that I would recommend to the council laws. Recommendation number 3, that the budget be submitted to the Minister for Local Government, is no longer required under the new Act, so we don't have to do that, so that can be deleted in entirety. Number 4, if we could just also delete the reference to Section 130 of the Local Government Act 1989. We will still give public notice that the budget's been adopted, but we're no longer obliged to do that under the new Local Government Act 2020, so that reference can be deleted as well. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. With those amendments, would someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Firth and Councillor Davis. Would you like to speak, Councillor Firth?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you through the chair.
You can remove your mask while you speak.
I was going to get it off. I said I missed the summary. Look, I've been councillor quite some years, number of years. I've been involved in a lot of budgets. Most of them have been difficult to come to grips with sometimes. However, this one, without going as far into the detail as Councillor Gunner-Ratney, I have to admit, but I'm more than happy to recommend this to the council. I'd also like anybody listening or thinking about reading the budget, it is a big document. If you don't want to read the whole thing, you read the summary, but please also read the CEO's introduction. It's something that I think is powerful, to be perfectly honest, and it's something that comes from experience, and it also comes from what I believe is the right thing. We've been trying to push something along for many years now in Benalla. This is the time that we really will see it come to fruition with regards to the future. And what he says when he mentions, if we don't take the decisions now, then somebody else will make them for us. And I think we're of the state, and we have the staff in place, we have the elected members in place, and we have the residents and the community to take this community further. So with the deletion of number 3 and the reference to section 139 deleted, or 130 I should say, I would recommend this to the council completely. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davis.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Chair. Without a word of a lie, this is possibly the most important document that we vote for the whole year, the budget. This is our cornerstone of what it's all about. Without this, our staff, our CEO, ourselves and our ratepayers can't move forward. And I'm very pleased to move this document. In fact, you can look at the figures, and possibly the only downfall in the figures there is that we will have a few cash flow problems if we go and do all these projects overnight, which I know with COVID, we won't be able to do all the projects overnight. So cash flow is definitely going to be, cash is king, and cash flow will be probably a little problem to us.
putting that aside, it's got so many positives. I've been on council possibly a little bit longer than Councillor Firth, and I don't like reading it up. Possibly my last term, hopefully my last term. But I've never worked with council that is so uniform, so positive. And when you've got councillors that are positive and uniform and want things to progress, then you've got a CEO that knows he's got direction. He's then got staff, like we've got a new chap on the block over here, Adrian. You know, the way this council's turned around in the last 12 months, the government are positive with us. We get $3 million, a free kick. I call this a free kick because it's money that ratepayers don't have to contribute towards. Normally our grant funding is 1 for 2 or whatever, and whatever decision we make, we've got to think about the ratepayers having to make a contribution. We're going to know that it's 50 years old. It's going to get a bit of a facelift. It's going to get things that people on that committee over there have been wanting for 15 years. Document storage, painting storage, collection storage and all that. I won't dwell on that. People know what it's all about. So fantastic that. Our car park in Mayor Street, all the works that we're going to do, the car park in Denny Street is going to have the uplift in the next 12 months. The footpaths are going on. Just what's going on in this town is fantastic. We're always going to get our knockers that say, you know, it's a bad town. Well, you know, we can't be everything to everybody, but I think we're doing a damn good job of doing what we do, and we're doing that well. And we're doing it once. We're not coming back. One thing I've learned off the CEO in a short period of time, he does things right from the first point, and you don't come back and try and fix it or amend it. Do it right first time up. And I just think the way the CEO and the staff have handled COVID, you know, it could have been a lot worse. Hopefully in the next 12 months, we won't get affected like we have in the last 12 months. I look at the $13 million that I don't think Kathy want to let go of that money. She want to hang on to it. But when you look at it, the seven and a half of that money is for renewals. Now, we've been that far behind in the last few years about renewal projects, fixing up old things. And I was a new councillor on the block and said, don't build anything new until we fix up what we've got. And we're doing a little bit of each. We're doing a visitor information centre over here. We've got the splash park, which is a credit to the people involved in it. We've got the raised roof that was done, credit to the people. The new football pavilion over here, a credit to our politicians that see Benalla on the map now and they want to support us. People want to live in Benalla, they're moving here. You know, fair enough, we haven't got enough regular accommodation, but people actually got a lot of faith in Benalla and want to live here. And I think our staff are going to have to really knuckle down because, I mean, in the past, staff haven't wanted to come to Benalla to live because it's been a better place in Benalla to live, but staff want to come to Benalla, people want to come to Benalla and live and work here now. So I think it's fantastic for everybody. We've got to ramp it up. I mean, sure, we'll make a decision that's wrong. Everybody makes a decision that's wrong, but you get on and fix it and move on. Our landfill, you know, I've been sitting in this chair for a few years saying, how are we ever going to get out of a $7 million loss? And I haven't talked to the CEO tonight, and he's talking about turning it into a profit in a short period of time. So, I mean, things are really going well. The only thing I'm really criticising on, I hope some of my rural supporters out there are there, but I'm always batting for you for a bit more gravel on the roads, and I'll keep fighting for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Davis, for that summary of the budget. Anyone else?
No one else was going to. It's such a good document.
If not, all those in favour? Oh, would you like to speak?
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I'd like to just thank Kathy and the CEO and their team for the budget as well. I think I can see that you've put in so much work and you've changed it along the way. I think it's really been great. We've been great with the number of submissions we've received from the community, and we've addressed those and we've taken them into account and all sorts of things. So I think that's really great. And I think that simplest summary will be great, especially for me. So thank you very much for considering that. And that was the community member's suggestion. I think it's really, really pleasing that Benalla Rural City has been able to managed to get these grants from government that we haven't had to put any money into, just like Councillor Davis was saying. we've been on the run with it, and it's fabulous. These grants, especially for the art gallery, for operational changes to the gallery, which is highlighted by the Tourism Victoria as a major tourist attraction for Benalla, is fabulous. We really need to get going on that. Then we've got additions happening down at the harbour foreshore there, the harbour, you can tell I considered, sorry, from the lake foreshore, the splash park, the new info centre, the cinema, and the new historical museum. I think all of this will add to the heart of Benalla along the foreshore, and it will be a place that all of the community is able to access. So well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Brien. Would anyone else like to speak? Councillor Gannaratne.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to pick up the discussion I started last week. We can easily find examples of councils who have achieved financial efficiencies and organisational efficiencies and benefited their residents by providing the services councils should provide, while also reducing the rates burden their residents carry. Ararat Rural City Council is a great example for this potential that Benalla could achieve for our residents. It is a council that has a lot of similarities to Benalla, such as the population size and the spread of income. Ararat is going to invest $13 million, which is similar to us, in their vital capital projects, while giving their residents a 1.5% rate cut in the coming budget. I would like to quote from the draft budget snapshot, a 2-page document from the Ararat Rural City Council. Quote, Council's 2021-22 budget will decrease general rates by 1.5%. This has been achieved through organizational efficiency and will not affect the delivery of council services. Unquote. We must do better and we can do better. Dear Mayor and my fellow councillors, looking at this example, I can see lots of areas we can improve in our council's portfolio and in our expenditure. As a certified practicing accountant and also an elected member, I believe in efficiencies in our assets, such as the airport, swimming pool, need to improve. And we must look at these assets with fresh ideas to stop the financial leakages. In my view, we must also not create projects that will lock in long-term expenditure that is unsustainable for the council, such as the cinema project. We do not know the business model, the extent to which the cinema will be subsidized, nor how the council plans to manage the asset if the new cinema continue to trend of making significant losses. My view of the cinema project is that we have put the cart before the horse. And I fear that it will be our residents and ratepayers who will carry that cost long into the future. Thank you.
Are you speaking against the motion, Councillor Gannaratne?
I'm highlighting that the cinema project I picked up last week as well. I've talked against that, and my motion was lapsed.
The recommendation that has been put, are you speaking against that recommendation or for it?
I am speaking on behalf of what I believe is right.
Thank you, Councillor Gannaratne. Councillor Firth, you have the right of reply.
Councillor Stern, I think, was going next.
Speaking for.
Would you like to speak, Councillor? Hey, would you like to speak, Councillor Hearn?
No, thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, I'm very pleased to speak in favour of the recommendation that's been proposed tonight to Council to adopt our 21-22 budget. And I guess, Mr Mayor, what I'm very pleased about this budget tonight in reading is the approach, the Conservative approach, that through the direction of our CEO and general manager and our finance manager and everyone in the council has done through these very challenging 12 months of this COVID pandemic we've all been in. The council, as you can read through this budget and as we've all been through these workshops, understands that the council itself has suffered through COVID and our community has suffered through COVID. We had to shut the library, the gallery, the swimming pool, and that impacted not only on the staff and the operations here in council, but it affected our community. And what I'm, I guess, intrigued about is that here in council, we are rate capped at 2.5%. That's been set by the state government. But if we wanted to, we could increase that and apply to the government to do that. But I don't think there's a single councillor around this table that wanted to do that, that wanted to pursue that, because we know people in our community are hurting. We know people in our community are still bouncing back and getting on their feet. And I think this council acknowledges that, and through this Conservative budget, have taken the necessary steps to do just that. I spoke to someone just recently who was, again, going through hardship as a result of COVID, and they accessed the council's rate relief package or the rate relief policy that we have in place. And that's helped them and their families through these challenging times. And so what I see in what we're doing through this budget and with the funding we've been able to secure, close to $1 million from the state and federal governments are going towards the precinct across the road. That is a symbol for our community to look forward to have a great new facility, not just a cinema, but an information centre, restoring and demonstrating and showing on display our past, as well as having a great facility for our community. I look forward to taking my kids from the splash park to then go and watch a movie, or picking them up from the swimming pool and going and watching a movie, or taking them through and showing what Benalla was back in 18, whatever. But it's important, I believe, that our community sees that we are proactive. How many times have we heard people say to us, there's nothing to do in Benalla? There's nothing for the young people. And here we are in this budget reflecting growth, opportunity and development. And I think it's a really conservative way of doing it, even during a pandemic. I really am pleased, and it's first for me as a previous councillor and mayor, to see that we've been able to get so much funding from the government. And that is a testament to our CEO and the people around this table and past councillors as well and mayors for the work that they've done. Mr Mayor, I really support this budget because I can't go past things like the roads, $2.14 million, drainage, $1.14 million, footpaths, $198,000, but significant funding going into our community. So when our community start ringing us and saying, I need to upgrade my footpaths or the drainage is no good in this area, we've budgeted it, we've got the money, let's talk, let's see what we can do. But Mr Mayor, I'm really pleased to support this budget tonight. I'm really pleased to see the direction Benalla's going in, and I'm really pleased that we've got a great CEO who's got his finger on the pulse in this community and reads the room and understands what the community are looking for, even during a pandemic. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor King. Councillor Hearn.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to speak in favour of our budget. I'd like to also reiterate what our fellow councillors have said about the positive things in the budget. I'd also like to congratulate us on our policy for COVID, where we actually look after the people that are struggling and are unable to, unable to pay their rates up front, so that we actually take no extra charge from them. I'd like to actually congratulate the CEO and staff on the acquiring of our grants that have been made for the art gallery and for the information centre. It is fantastic to know that when we can no longer be a BPAC because of the costs, that we will have a cinema for our community to still use, and it will be run by council as a community cinema, and that it'll also have toilets for our splash park, which is a long way a long-awaited item that we've all been asked for. I'd like to thank the staff again for always being able to help us out when we're stuck with questions on where money goes and where exactly it's coming from. And the extra work they've done this year is exceptional. I like very much the 4-page glossy reduction of everything, Kathy. It makes it easy to read, and you know when you're looking through it then what you're looking at, because it's so simple to understand. And I'd just like to thank you for your hard work, everyone.
Thank you very much, Councillor Hearn. I think that Councillor Ganaratne spoke against your motion, Councillor Firth, so you have a right to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With regards to any councillor that has objections to or can't, well, has to speak in the negative for a budget like this, is absolutely their right to their opinion. And I'll say no more on that, other than I am aware of Ararat. I'm aware of many small local government areas in Victoria and around Australia. Every single council community is specifically their own. And I'm not aware, I have not read any other council's absolute budget. Hell, I missed our own summary. So the point there is, though, that I know our predicament, Benella's predicament, has been one that we've been dealing with certain huge issues, challenges, and they are the landfill, they are drainage, they are things that at airport. There are so many things in Benalla that are unique to Benalla that have to be dealt with on their own. They have to be dealt with by the council, by the staff, and especially the CEO. They have to come up with a plan of their own. And this document, along with our council plan, that is our plan. That is our future. And I'm more than happy to see robust debate about anything. So I'm happy to have it. I would prefer to see unanimous, especially for a document such as this, but no matter. But to the council, when it comes to this election that we're about to have, I can do no more than recommend it. I'm sure that it's going to pass because it should. And it should because this is Benella's budget. This is Benella's future. And I recommend it to Benalla. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Hearn. The recommendation as moved by Councillor Manchester. The recommendation is moved by Councillor Firth and seconded by Councillor Davis is on page 36. All those in favour? Against? That's carried. Thank
I
you.
cannot call for division on that one.
You
Call
can.
for division, you sure can, yes. Councillor Davis?
I'm for.
Yes.
Councillor Davis, for. Councillor Firth?
For.
Councillor Hearn? For. Councillor Ganaratne?
Against.
Against. Councillor King?
For.
Councillor O'Brien?
For.
And I'm for it.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. 9.3, rating and revenue plan 21-25.
Thank you. The rating and revenue plan is a new initiative as a result of the amendment, or the new Local Government Act 2020. It's an interesting document. We considered some community input into it at our previous meeting. The final version that we're proposing is attached as Appendix 1. I think it's something that will grow over the next 3 to 4 years as we develop further with opportunities that we're looking for revenue wherever we can get it, and in appropriate mechanisms that we are able to access. One of those exciting revenue lines to me is the Electricity Act and the solar farms, and I'm so keen to have them produce that level of output that I can send some more bills to get some income through that will give us the opportunity to counter any lost revenue that we've had over the last 3 or 4 years because of the Commonwealth government no longer being rateable for their areas. So, not that I'm sore on that one, but I'm sore on that one. So I put it to you that Appendix 1 is the proposed document, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions? If not, the recommendation is on page 41. Is that a question, Councillor?
No, I shall move
Okay. Moved Councillor Davis, seconded Councillor Hearn. Like to speak, Councillor Davis.
I need to say that it's a very good document, and I'm looking forward to it coming to council and debating it with my fellow councillor Don Firth in many years to come. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Councillor Hearn.
I'd just like to thank Kathy for the policy.
You can remove your mask when you speak.
For this rating and revenues plan, very exciting reading.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak on that? All those in favour? That's carried. 9.4, Mayor and Councillors' attendance at committees and civic functions. Are there any amendments that councillors would like to put forward to that document? Councillor Hearn.
Just one second. I'm struggling turning papers because I can't lift my finger. It's the top. We're meant to house opening on the 13th of May. I didn't attend that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ganarate.
Thank you, Chair. 18th May L2P National Volunteer Week acknowledgement. I didn't attend that one. And 14th May Molyola Open House. I didn't attend that one. Thank you.
Are there any other amendments? Councillor Davis.
The 11th of June, the CBD listing post, I missed it unfortunately. Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other amendments, recommendation is on page 47. The report is noted. Councillor Hearn, Councillor O'Brien. Like to speak, Councillor Hearn.
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor O'Brien.
No, thank you, Mr.
All
Chair.
those in favour? That's carried. 9.5, council actions pending. All completed.
Good job.
Any questions on that? Okay, the recommendation is on page 49 that the report be noted. Councillor Ganarate, seconded. Councillor King, like to speak. Councillor Ganarate.
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor King.
No, thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? All those in favour? That's carried. Item number 10, reports by councillors. Councillor Firth.
Thank you. Through the chair, just would like to bring the council's knowledge here that the Councillor King and I myself sit on the Benalla Festival Advisory Committee, and we have been having quite a few meetings of late. And to Sharon here, that's heads up that in our department, our staff. I know that's how much work she's putting in towards it. It's going to be a different festival this year. Everything's different in the last couple of years, let's face it. We have to make adjustments to some of the things we do and the way we do them. Unfortunately, this year, we just simply logistically couldn't get a way around to have the parade. So the parade is one of those things that will have to be put off for this year at least, and we'll see how it goes in years to come. However, there are new initiatives coming along. This year we're going to split the festival into two weekends only. The first weekend concentrating on everything rural. And one of the fantastic ideas that's come through the committee so far, and I was there when I was watching it go between Councillor King and Sharon with the name, and that's the small hall crawl, which I just, if nothing else, it's a great name. But it's going to highlight some of our small halls all around our townships. Some of them only get used once a year, and some of them don't get used very much at all. However, we have an opportunity this time to really highlight them and the communities that they belong to. So this is the expressions of interest are out into the community now. We had a media release through the week, and just asking for expressions of interest. And the second weekend is going to be the God's shining on us. Hopefully, we will have our fireworks, and we will have a wonderful Super Saturday down around Foreshore on a Sunday. So for saying that we missed all together last year festival, this year we really do want to have that festival on, and it's going to be a celebration for our community, both rural and city. So I recommend anybody that's thinking of running an event that would like to be part of our celebration, then the expressions of interest out there. So please get in touch with us and fill in the form as you do when councils. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Firth. Sounds very exciting. Does anyone else have any reports? If not,
No, I thought, but I'm good.
okay. If not, the recommendation is on page 51 that the reports be noted. Move Councillor Firth, second Councillor Generatne. Like to speak, Councillor Firth.
No, thank you.
Councillor Generatne.
No, thank you, Chair.
Anyone else like to speak? All those in favour? That's carried. Notices of motion? A notice of rescission motion?
No.
Urgent business?
No.
Item number 14, confidential business. The recommendation is the meeting be closed in public for the consideration of confidential business items noted above pursuant to sections 3 and sections 66 of the Local Government Act 2020. Moved Councillor Hearn, seconded Councillor King. All those in favour? Thank you, that's carried. The meeting is closed to the public.